In 1976, English-born, US-based, blue-eyed soul funk vocalist Ruth Copeland released her third and final album, Take Me to Baltimore, on RCA. And from this Daryl Hall co-produced album, the track If You Don't Want My Love. Already I'm getting kind of a Betty Davis vibe here. I love the way those strings are just kind of like perforating in that kind of dramatic minor tonality amid the like funky, deep, kind of low down grit of the rhythm section and guitar. Oh, the way those strings are just like kind of like falling like amid her vocals and oh, those interjections of guitar, kind of that sizzling tone. Yeah, that dun 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 dun. Yeah, the way that the strings come to kind of have that kind of like avalanche at the end of her line. So far, the music is really dominating, even though this is like a vocalist's album. Now, to her credit, she's got kind of like a somewhat of a breathy kind of sass going on, but let's hear more. Maybe it's the way it's mixed, but I'm really noticing the music more than her. Hear that guitar? Oh, that just sizzling, slicing guitar. That kind of like single then double of the drummer. Now he's throwing in twos like that right there. Oh, I love the way those strings just keep coming down. Dun 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 dun. They're so like striking. Let's meet some of the players here. Okay, let's see. Horns by Michael and Randy Brecker. Yes, the ubiquitous, trusty Brecker brothers. String and horn arrangements, Patrick P. Adams. Percussion by Jimmy Maelen. Oh yeah, another name you see around on a lot of these albums from the time period. The album is a co-production between Ralph Moss and Daryl Hall. And this particular track is a three-way co-write between Eric Thorngren, whose name seems to appear on 4 tracks on the album, John Turi, and Ruth Copeland. And I guess I'll get around to more. Bass by Francisco Centeno, and drums by Steve Jordan. Huh. Neither a name I recognize offhand. Oh god, hear the sizzle of the guitar, just both that kind of crunchy chord, then that sizzling lead. We have got 3 guitarists credited on this album. Bob Kulick, Dick Wagner, and Eric I'm going to assume it's Eric Thorngren then, since he is a co-writer of this track. Now her voice is starting to like flare up a bit. I mean, hearing a bit of wail, a bit of expression on her part. hooks in the song. We got those strings, those string bits kind of falling. We got those guitars, like sizzling. We got that rather distinct rhythmic pattern. Like if you took all the music away, you would have quite a rhythmic pattern of its own, let's say. Oh, a slight modulation into a different key, but the same. All the best elements are just being brought to the fore here. The perforating strings and the guitar. Let's see. Our guy Eric Thorngren, he had been in the early 1970s hard rock band Bulldog. Yeah, I know that band. Yeah, 2 albums on Decca and Buddha in the early 70s. And let's see. Steve Jordan, the drummer, who's giving us all those like double ups and everything. He let's see, played drums on most of the Blues Brothers recordings. And the bassist, Francisco Centeno, 194 credits according to Discogs. Appeared on Valerie Simpson's second album. It seems he's had a few connections over the years with Ashford and Simpson, Zolima, and Lucy Simon. Yeah, Carly's sister. Earl Klugh, Miroslav Vitao. Yeah, No Pointers, Fantasia. Yeah, I did one from that album a few months ago. Yeah. God, the thing about those like kind of like dark, dramatic strings that kind of like flare up and then kind of like do that shimmery tone. It's such a distinct quality of records from this period, particularly unlike the American recordings of this time period. It's just it just takes me to another time and place. I could just see the nightclub scene to this, the dance floor, the kind of heady, sweaty, under the kind of like dark corners, like with the under the like mirror ball strobe lit floor. You can't have my soul, 'cause I need it more than you do. Get out on your own, the nights are getting colder. Well, I can't really tell what she's singing about. I do know that the song is about kind of like independence and about getting rid of deadbeat lovers or doll lovers and such. But nonetheless, she's putting a lot of passion into it. What really matters to me at this point is that she's like putting a lot of grit, a lot of flair into it, and is earning your keep, you could say, within the music, within the sonic and framework of this track, and giving, I guess, at this point of the song, kind of giving the instrumentalists a run for their money. I hear that bass really coming to the fore, really poking frontal. Yeah, the drummer keeps on varying it up at the end of each bar. Yeah, sometimes it's like one hit on the snare. Sometimes it's two. It's a double hit. Oh, the backing vocals are, let's see, Jesse Ray and William Hocher. Those are the ones credited. Jesse Ray, a Scottish singer. So another person from over the pond appearing on this rather American-sounding album, huh? Jesse, yeah, it's the same guy. Jesse Ray has a very bizarre album cover, the solo album he did from like 11 years after the album of this video, The Thistle, where he's dressed up like a medieval warrior. It's God, hear how just that guitar is just like sizzling away, just slashing in places. Wow. Funky, feverish, sassy track, full of raunch, full of attitude, full of just strutting bravado and confidence from Ruth Copeland, yes. And musically just embodying the kind of dark, heady, urban vibe of that era. And very much benefiting, I guess, from the time she had spent as a backup vocalist in the P-Mob. Let's hear a very different track from the album. A track that she co-wrote with Eric Thorngren again, showing a more tender, kind of dreamy side. Senses.
Sense has no feelings, and feelings have no sense at all.
Senses have no feelings, and feelings have no sense at all.
Sense has no feelings, and feelings have no sense at all.
Oh, those beautiful chords, that dreamy vibe. Musically, I'm getting somewhat of kind of like a Fox ballad, like Nusha Fox ballad. Not the vocals, though. Just that kind of dreamy, misty, Super 8 footage. Actually, of all the songs in the album, it's probably the one that most seems to correlate with the imagery of the cover, where she's like leaning back, like her eyes closed, kind of like.
Pain in the back of my neck, and I'm sitting here wondering.
Okay, yeah, I love the chords in this, and I would love to work it out. Like, it started out kind of like in a D minor tonality, and that chord kind of like dominates the chorus. That tonality.
Where you are when you're not with me, and I know I shouldn't ask.
Basically, we just went from C minor to F to B flat major 7. Yeah, rather pretty sequence if you know the mood of those chords.
Wish I would have. Wish I could only use my condescend.
Oh wow, she really flared up there and took command of the song. I have, I guess, kind of mixed feelings about her vocals overall. Maybe the fact that she just didn't record a whole lot may have had something to do. I don't know. Something could have been a bit more developed there, I think. She's good in this section, even if it's kind of more like breathe, singing, kind of like atmospheric voicing.
Sense has no feelings have no sense at all.
I wonder if she's harmonizing with herself here. that kind of lucid vibe that this is going for, and I love the arrangement, how the simple instrumentation, like I think maybe some soft strings and some like Fender Rhodes mixed in with maybe some tinkly analog synth. That's what we're.
Keeps on haunting me.
Your face keeps on haunting me.
Oh, the bed with its empty space. It keeps on taunting me. Keeps on haunting me.
Keeps on taunting me. Keeps on haunting me. I couldn't quite make out the line before that. It sounded like an interesting metaphor, though. I think something about a veil.
Oh, I wish I could only you. My common sense.
I hear that breathe, that breath she's putting into these words, like sense has, yeah. Such a play on word, like a reflexive line, a reflexive sensibility. Sense has no feelings, and feelings have no sense at all.
Sense has no feelings, and feelings make no sense at all to me.
You know, I kind of think that it would have been better if for the song she had mostly stuck to the breathy tone. When she goes kind of more into that high, her voice kind of seems to break a little, and it seems just a little bit out of range. It kind of disrupts the mood of the track, I think. Hear the light guitar licks in this, very light.
No one will see my tears, 'cause I'm far too big to cry.
I hope that it's not too murky coming across in this video. There's definitely that kind of misty, sort of murky vibe that I think kind of helps a song like this. It adds to the lucid quality, the blurry, foggy mist, like a dream, really.
Put away my fear like you were never here. I'm gonna try to use your common sense.
Thinking that maybe there are parts where her voice kind of reminds me a little bit of Valerie Carter, who hadn't yet released a solo album at this point. In some of those I don't know, some of those passages maybe. And Valerie Carter could be a good vocalist at times, and also in other instances kind of have some apparent limitations. But at least, actually, I would say I would almost kind of like say kind of like a female equivalent to Todd Rundgren, someone who could have a vocalist. Meaning, what I mean by that is a vocalist who can have a lot of range, a lot of passion, a lot of emotion, but also not quite technically have that full kind of like octave range mastery as much as they try. That at times could almost kind of seem like a shower singing version of like a true belter or a crooner, but they make an earnest attempt, and sometimes they'll have like a set of lyrics at hand that are so personal that it would be hard to imagine maybe other people putting it across as convincingly. And so you gotta give them credit for trying, even if their talents are kind of spread in multiple areas, and maybe like Todd Rundgren, for instance. You know, he's a multi-talent, he's a multi-instrumentalist, composer, band leader, producer. Few people have ever called him the greatest living vocalist, but there are times when he really tries his best to expand himself and croon And even if he's not the best, you gotta just kind of give him credit, you know. Got a lot thicker here, a lot fuller. Yeah, the strings are a lot fuller, just that it's swelled up more. I like how the guitar, that light, kind of slight wail of a guitar is just kind of interacting with those strings, just... like various waves of wind blowing. I kind of like those mid-range growls she was throwing in, kind of as she starts to kind of ad-lib and improvise a little bit toward the fade-out. That was Ruth Copeland with Senses, and before that, If You Don't Want My Love, from her 1976 RCA release, Take Me to Baltimore, her third and to date final album, co-produced by Daryl Hall, who co-wrote a few songs on here with her. Neither of the two I played. The main second-hand man on the two that I was guitarist Eric Thorngren, who delivered a sizzling performance on the first of those tracks and a really delicate one on the second. And yeah, two very different tracks showing her range musically anyway, and as a co-songwriter, and showing some promise in certain areas of the vocal range, and kind of maybe a little bit overreaching, straying outside her zone in a few other places, but it would have been interesting to see how maybe that talent could have developed had she been a bit more prolific or recorded a few more albums, but we'll never know. Because she retired from the music industry shortly after this album came out. Also we had great instrumental performances on this. The keyboardists heard John Turi and Ralph Schuckett, although it doesn't specify which on which. Anyway, for more Rubies and Sapphires from, two of the three Ruth Copeland albums, this one and the one before it from like 5 years earlier anyway, see the directory of albums by English R artists, linked in the description below. And yeah, this song, this album, Take Me to Baltimore, has about 4 other Red Hot tracks on it too. Like and subscribe and follow me on social media, and leave a comment if there are any observations you have about the 2 tracks we just heard, the layers, the instrumentation, the interplay, the soloing, like who had the best moment, the best break, the best tone. Yeah, the lyrics, if you know the lyrics, or if you were able to decipher them a bit better than I could just playing along. And her performance as a vocalist, whether you thought she really nailed it, whether you thought she whether you agreed or disagreed with my somewhat mixed impressions anyway. And until next time, this is Zaragon, the world's most ear travel trimaximalist, signing off.